So we'll stick our ear in there. It could be face down or face up, doesn't really matter a whole lot. We'll just start turning it. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope all y'all are having a fantastic day. It is Friday, September 20th here in South Georgia, and on today's video we're going to do a little blue corn harvesting. So we're going to harvest this hurricane damaged blue corn here behind me, see how we did, break out the corn sheller for a minute, and tell you all the different ways we can use this blue corn. But before we get into all the blue corn fun, let me show you this pea jungle that's right beside it. So our fall cowpea planting is doing exceptionally well, so well that we have lost control of the situation a little bit here. We've got 3 different varieties planted, but it looks just like one contiguous cowpea jungle. We put up some trellises here for 2 of the climbing varieties, but it's all just kind of running together at this point. So we've got our Chack Bay peas here, we've got our Ozark Razorback peas here, and then our Tennessee purple peas here. We can walk between those 2 rows a little bit, but the rest of this has all grown together. Now, I've yet to see any flowers on these, but I expect to see some any day now. And even though it's all kind of grown together, lucky for us, these 3 different cowpea varieties are pretty unique from one another. So we should be able to tell once we get bunch of pea pods forming out there which variety is which. I don't think the Chack Bay peas are going to run all the way across the plot, but we are going to have a little bit of mixing there. Should be able to easily tell them apart though. Oh, and looky there, I told y'all a story. I said I hadn't seen any flowers yet. There's a flower right there on those Ozark peas, so we should start seeing a bunch of those here pretty soon. So I'll keep y'all updated on that situation there. Now over here to the task at hand with this blue corn today. So this is my 2nd year growing this McCormack's blue giant corn. Also the 2nd year it has got damaged by a hurricane. Last year it was Idalia, this year it was Debbie. Debbie's damage wasn't as bad as Idalia's damage last year, so I think we've got some we can salvage in there. And I don't know why I'm so stubborn about trying to be successful with this particular variety. I just like it and I want it to work. But I know what I need to do next year. I need to plant this stuff earlier and get it grown out before hurricane season rolls around. Anyways, let's talk about how we know when this stuff is ready to harvest. Well, obviously we want to wait till these stalks turn completely brown like they are now. And we also want to wait for those ears to fall and basically be hanging upside down, which usually happens in conjunction with the stalks drying. Now, due to the hurricane, I know we've got some runts out there because it came through right as this corn was getting pollinated. But I also know we've got, or should have, a few pretty decent ears that look like that one right there. So I'm going to go through here real quick and harvest all this. Go ahead and shuck it. I'll throw the ears in the back of the buggy. That way we can see what we've got and we'll be able to see how we did. Alright, so a pretty abysmal harvest there for 3 30-foot double rows, but I kind of expected that a little bit. A lot of those ears were laying on the ground and had just kind of turned to mush from sitting on that wet soil. There weren't a ton of ears hanging from those stalks that are still standing. And as expected, we definitely had some pollination issues as a result of that storm coming through here. But as we go on down the line here to the better looking ears, there are several here that look really good, which gives me some hope. Because if I could grow out this variety without any hurricane interference and end up harvesting a bunch of ears that look like this right here, we'd be doing something there. Now, I'm no heirloom field corn expert, although I did stay at a Homewood Sweets last weekend. We've got some interesting differences in color between a lot of these ears. Some of them are really dark purple, some of them are light purple, and some of them like this have these little white striations on the kernels. Now, I have no way of telling if that's something environmental or something genetic. If you've got any ideas as to what might cause that, definitely let me know in the comments below. Now, my plan was to use this for groceries, and we'll talk about that more in a minute, but considering we had such a poor harvest, not a whole lot of groceries to be had here. So I think instead I'll more focus on saving some of this for seed, saving some of these better looking ears like these right here for seed. I think I may save some seeds on this one here with the white striations on it and see if that pops up again in the next generation. So we'll take some of the better looking ears, save those for seed, and maybe we can salvage some groceries off the rest. Now there really ain't enough corn here to justify breaking out the old corn sheller, but I'll do it anyway since a lot of people find old stuff like this kind of neat. So this is an old Black Hawk corn sheller. I want to say a viewer sent me this many moons ago. So the way this works is you turn that handle right there and those little teeth spin around and basically knock the kernels off those corn ears. And so when I got this thing, I made a little box for it and mounted it in the box, and it stays in there permanently. Been a little while since I've used this thing, so I had to kind of knock the dust off of it. Now I already know those runt ears there aren't going to do very good going through this sheller here. Probably just end up shelling those by hand. But these better looking ears here should run through there pretty good. I can feel the kernels on that being fairly loose, so we'll see how it shells. So we'll stick our ear in there. It could be face down or face up, doesn't really matter a whole lot. We'll just start turning it. And you can kind of back it up, run it back through there, and hopefully what you get is a nice clean ear like there. There may be a couple kernels at the top you have to flick off by hand. That did pretty good right there. So let's try a few more from these ears we want to save for seed. There we go. Not bad at all. Left about, I don't know, 7 or 8 kernels, but nice and clean once again. Let's do one more ear, and I probably need to stop. I have to be careful. I do this too much. It'll get fun to me. I be done went to town, bought me a bag of Indian corn just to run through the sheller. But let's do one more ear here. Oh yeah. Not quite as good as the others. We'll get it though. Run it back through there a couple times. Knock a few of those on the end off. Other nice and clean ear. And just from those 3 ears there, we probably got enough seed to plant what I want to plant next year. Few runt kernels in there, but most of those look pretty good. Man, that is some pretty corn. So I think I'll save the rest of these ears for the boys to shell when they get home from school today. They like shelling corn more than I do, which is saying a lot. Now you may be wondering, once we've got it shelled like this, what can we do with it? Now before we had such a lackluster harvest, my original plan was to buy me a nice little countertop grinder and grind it up for grits and cornmeal. We like using cornmeal when we fry fish, also when we fry okra, and down here in the south we love our grits. But with just that little bit of corn, I don't know if I can justify buying a countertop grinder just yet. Maybe if we have a good grow out next year, I'll do that. May just put some in my Ninja food processor and see how well I can get it ground up in there. So we could use it for cornmeal or grits. We could also use it for chicken food if we wanted to. Now, I probably wouldn't use some of this pretty blue corn for chicken food, but if you grow out a bunch of yellow field corn, you can definitely use that to feed your chickens. Now, you don't just want to give them these hard kernels right here. You either got to crack the corn, bust it up, or you can take these hard kernels, soak them in some water, soften them up, and give it to your chickens as a snack. And then the fourth way a lot of people would use an ear of corn like this would be simply for decoration. Now, we barely got enough here to eat, much less enough to decorate with. But if you had a bunch of these, yeah, it would make a nice little tabletop decoration for the fall. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Sorry to disappoint you with such a pitiful corn harvest, but I'm keeping the faith. I'm going to save some seeds and I'm going to plant this again next year. And one of these years, I'm going to grow a bumper crop of this stuff. And if you want to see some more good field corn content, watch this video that we did several years ago where we grew out some glass gem corn, did pretty well with it, ran it through the sheller as well. So check that out and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.